Hello everybody, it's Michelle, and this week on Peppermintjuju we are going to be talking about ego. So I thought that I would talk a little bit about what I know intellectually or academically about ego, and then also talk about my personal opinions. So I'll keep the academic side short because it's pretty simple if you really think about it. So ego is essentially, it's one part of three parts of the self or the brain that Freud came up with. And those parts are the id, the ego, and the superego. So the id is the part of the brain or the self that is very primal. It wants food, sex, it wants to be aggressive, it wants all of those primal animalistic type instincts, essentially, that human beings have. The ego is the part of the self that helps get those things for the id, but in a realistic and culturally acceptable way. So instead of going out and just having sex with everybody and not even asking for permission, the ego says, well, maybe we should get into a relationship and have sex with somebody who wants to have sex with us. And that's how it properly fulfills those needs. But then we have the superego. The superego is kind of like a bad parent. It's mean. It's that negative self-talk. You know, you're not good enough. You're ugly. You don't deserve this. You're selfish and all of those things. Just saying those mean things to yourself. And I think that essentially when we talk about ego in a spiritual sense, we're bundling all three of those things up. We're not just talking about the one part of the, just the ego. We're talking about the id, the ego, and the superego at the same time, in my personal opinion. So, let's talk a little bit more about this. I think it's interesting that within a culture that, and I guess I'm speaking about Western culture, specifically American, but I can't say it doesn't apply to like the UK or Europe or Australia or any other Western civilization. But in our culture, we are taught to have this overindulgent lifestyle. We overeat, we please ourselves, we want, we need, and now. But at the same time, in the same breath, a lot of us are taught, don't be stuck up. Don't be confident. Don't love yourself. And it's kind of counterintuitive because then also at the same time, even though that's what we're taught to do, we're told, no, you have to love yourself. But then people are afraid to love themselves because that's selfish. That's bad. That's ego. That's overindulgent. But we accept the fact that, oh yeah, sure, I'll overeat, I'll overspend, I'll overdo everything else, I don't care. And so it's just this weird, hypocritical thing. It's very backwards. So I think that's interesting. And I know that I've always had problems with ego in different ways. I remember when I was really young, people would say, oh, you're so cute, you're so beautiful today. And I didn't want to say thank you. Because I thought that if I said thank you, that was me saying, I know. And I thought that was rude. And that's how I described it being so young. But essentially, I thought that was ego. I thought that it was stuck up to say, yeah, thanks, I know I'm beautiful. Even just a simple thank you, I thought that's what it equated to. And because of that, I think that in society in general and kids, because they're mean, it just beat me down. And so I still deal with, and I've had in the past, a horrible superego and a horrible ego, but not in the stuck-up, I'm the best kind of way. More so in the, you're not good enough. You're so fat. Don't even try to look hot. You can't look hot. You don't deserve that person in your life. You don't deserve friends. You don't deserve this. And we all have that judge. Maybe you do a presentation at work and you nail it, but your ego's like, you could have done better. You should have prepared more. You look ugly today. Can't believe you think you did a good job. You just look so horrible. So that is the part of the ego that I think is bad. Because a lot of people that you talk to, if you ask them, you know, is ego good? They're like, no, ego's bad. And I think that's wrong. There are bad parts of the ego, like the one that I just described. That negative self-talk, that judge inside you. But I think that ego is good too. I mean, just because you say, I know I'm beautiful, that doesn't make you selfish. That doesn't make you a horrible person. Just because you say, I'm very proud of the household that I've maintained for myself. That's not bad to say that. If you say, oh, I'm so excited and so proud of the car that I bought because I earned it. That's not bad. But when you start to do nothing but that, you always think of me, 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 me. You never think about Joe Schmo. You never think about the world. You never donate your time, and you're never giving up your things and yourself and your time to help others. That is when I think ego becomes dangerous. I don't think ego is something that needs to be rejected and dissolved. I think it's something that needs to be embraced and controlled. We need to learn how to tell our ego to shut up. To me, ego, there's a lot of emotion involved in ego. If you have no ego, I almost feel like there's nothing. I feel like, not that you don't have emotion, but it's just kind of flat. Instead of saying, man, I'm so angry, you say, I noticed that my feelings are not happy right now. Or you know, it just seems a little flat to me. And I say this because some of my belief is still kind of tied into my original New Age beliefs from when I was like 12, to that we are spiritual beings, and we choose to come down to this plane to experience what it's like to be on this plane. What's it like to be human? Because I think that we have this state of being that is essentially ego-free. There's no ego. We're just peaceful. We're hanging around. Nobody hates anyone. Everybody loves everybody, and nobody's too different, and we all accept it, and everybody's just groovy. It's a whole bunch of hippies hanging out on the other side. But then the reason we come here is to experience that ego. We want to be here so that we can experience pain, so we can experience suffering, so we can experience anger and happiness and pleasure, and all of those things that we wouldn't otherwise experience because we have no ego. So it's always perplexed me, why are people here in this plane as human beings trying to deny themselves the experience of being human? We have the rest of eternity to be spirit, or to be something else, in another world, in another plane. Why not use this time as a human to experience that, and embrace the ego? Just keep it in check so that you have a balanced and good experience. Too much of anything is bad. And I think too much ego is what we need to get rid of, not ego altogether. Because as human beings, I think it's our natural state to have ego. And there's nothing wrong with that. It keeps our id in check. And if we were all running around just eating everything that we wanted, having sex with everybody that we saw, and killing because we felt like we were, if we were doing all that primal animalistic stuff, we would have no society, we would have no culture, we would lose what it is that makes us humans. So that is my take on ego. It's not bad. I think that it needs to be embraced. I think that there are people that we think have no ego that actually do. I'll give you two examples. One, Dalai Lama. No matter what your faith is, I think that everybody knows who the Dalai Lama is. And I think that the Dalai Lama, I don't know if he claims to have no ego or whatever, but I think a lot of people feel like he doesn't have one. I bet you he does. But I bet the thing that is, he's really good at policing it. He's really good at being selfless and helping others and being compassionate. I think his main message as the Dalai Lama, or this incarnation of the Dalai Lama, is compassion. So I think that ego still exists within him. That's what makes him human. But it's that struggle, that fight, that constant policing that makes him so egoless, I guess. The other person I wanted to talk about was Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa was a wonderful person who helped a lot of people. She gave up a lot, just everything, to help those who are sick and less fortunate and homeless. And she dedicated her life to that. And there were times that she thought, I'm not worth this. I'm not worth it. I'm a horrible person. I can't believe that I feel like I might be going to hell. Or she just had those doubts about herself that she wasn't doing a good job. But she was. But that talk, that negative self-talk, is the superego. No matter how good you do, your superego is always there to tear you down. So I would suggest put a ball gag inside your inner judge's mouth and make him shut up, because you deserve so much more than that. Now, how do we keep our inner ego, our superego, our regular ego, how do we keep it in check? I think the best thing to do is cope. Cope with all of those everyday stresses. Read a book, go for a run, do yoga. I think meditation is key to anything. No matter what your religion or spirituality is, I think meditation is not the answer to everything, but it sure is a really good key. So I would do that. And I would try to take care of your physical body as much as you can by doing exercise, by shoving good natural vegetables and fruits into your body, because when your body's functioning at its optimal speed, your mind is also operating in that capacity, and then you're more able to police that ego. So that's my advice. That's my take on ego, I suppose. I don't know if anything else will come up between now and Sunday when we have our chat, but I think this is a pretty good start. So, thank you very much for watching Peppermintjuju, and I look forward to seeing you all on the Sunday call, which should be later in the evening on Sunday Eastern Standard Time. So, we're looking maybe 9 p.m., 10 p.m., I think. So, yeah, I'll see you there. Thanks for watching. Bye.